morning and welcome to our Undergraduate International Offer Holder webinar this morning. We're delighted that you can join us for this and hopefully very informative session. My name is Hannah Davis. I am the Marketing Manager for the School of Health and Life Sciences, and I will be here in a support capacity this morning just to answer any questions that anyone has on more generic student life queries at GCU. But who we also have is Dr. Gordon Hill, who is the Assistant Head for International for the School of Health and Life Sciences. You may have seen in the invitation that it was meant to be Karen Thompson, however, she is no longer available this morning, so Dr. Gordon Hill has kindly stepped in. And we also have Sandra Shum, who is one of our outstanding international students currently on the BA Honours Social Work programme. So she will be here to deliver a bit of information about what it's like to study as an international student in the School of Health and Life Sciences. So I'll pass over now to Gordon and he'll give you a bit more information, and then Gordon will pass over to Sandra, and throughout please feel free to answer any questions you may have and we'll see what we can do to get them answered for you, okay? Thank you.
Thanks very much, Hannah, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are in the world. As Hannah said, my name is Dr. Gordon Hill, and I am the Assistant Head for International in the School of Health and Life Sciences at Glasgow, Caledonian, and we are very pleased to welcome you today to this session. So I know that some of you are considering applying, or you're all considering to apply to GCU. And so what makes GCU and the School of Health and Life Sciences stand out? And one of the big strengths that we have really is our partnership working. We work really closely with a large team of researchers within the School of Health and Life Sciences. And this research not only impacts and informs the teaching that we provide, but also the wider community in terms of the health and life sciences within Glasgow and in Scotland and the UK. We also have a large multidisciplinary team-based approach, so many of the courses that you do will actually have other healthcare professionals and other people working within that, and I'll come on to that in a little while. Almost all of our programs not only have an academic component, but lead to a regulatory professional qualification as well. So we work very closely with regulators to make sure that the standards that they set out are adhered to. And to do all this, we work with the public, commercial organisations and non-governmental organisations, and we very much have a co-production model in that respect. The school consists of 8 departments, and I actually just realised this morning that one of them is missing from there, so that's podiatry and radiography. So if you're applying for a programme there, the apologies, it's not in this list, but it's very much a very important part of the school. But we also have biological and biomedical sciences, nursing and community health, and my background is in nursing, so that's where the department I used to work in. We have occupational therapy and human nutrition and dietetics, physiotherapy and paramedicine, psychology, social work and vision sciences. And we all either are based in one building or very close by, so we all work very closely together. And the photograph there is Professor Anita Simmers, who's the Dean of the School of Health and Life Sciences. And to meet Dean, Anita is an amazing leader and very dynamic, so she's a great driving force within the school. So why study health and life sciences at GCU? I can't understate the simulation facilities we have and the laboratory facilities we have. They really are fantastic. It's amazing when you often see some of the facilities actually being featured in television programs and dramas because they're so lifelike, and they really help to enhance the learning of the students that are here. Obviously, lots of you will be having clinical experiences or work-based experiences, but the simulation and laboratory facilities we have really are excellent. We have fantastic student feedback, and I'll come on to that in a little while. We do very, very well in league tables. For example, physiotherapy is exceptionally well in the league tables, and that really helps to enhance the reputation of the university and the school. The employment opportunities for our students are really, amazing. I think it's something like 96% of students are either on further study or in working within 6 months of completion of the programme. So that really reflects the kind of employment focus on the programmes that we offer. So really, if you want to kind of work either in your home country or in the UK, you have excellent opportunities if you undertake the programmes at GCU. I'd mentioned this previously, but we've got a strong emphasis on interprofessional learning. So some of your classes that you take, you may be in the classroom with nurses, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, paramedic students, and that really helps to give you a good understanding of the roles and responsibilities that other people have, and really helps you when you're going into the clinical environment as well. So you have a better understanding of what roles different professional groups have. We're also extremely student-centred, and really students are at the focus for everything that we do, and we take very, very seriously the kind of support that students need throughout the programmes that are undertaken. So I was mentioned about student feedback, and some of the students have said to us, they've really commented on the student support that we have. Really soon after you start the programme, Canon Thompson and I organise an international student welcome. And that gives you the opportunity to meet with fellow students, meet with Karen and I. And for each of the departments, we also have an international lead, and they come along to these sessions as well as a student representative from the Students' Association. So it gives you the opportunity to meet up with people and to ask lots of questions. Students have also said about speedy and prompt feedback and support from support staff and teaching staff. This is really important because often you might have questions and you don't want to be sitting for days and days and days not having an answer. So this student had commented on how quickly people get back to them. We have lots of opportunities for feedback, and one of those is what we call pause for feedback in the middle of the term. That gives you the opportunity to let us know how things are going and to see how we can improve things. A big thing is about how approachable the professors and academic staff are. The student has said how knowledgeable they are, and if we don't know, then we certainly find out what the best way to answer your question. The student has said that they've been taught the way they like to be taught, help to improve people as an individual, but also as a class. This student had commented on the simulation facilities and gives them information that help people to transition once they go back to their own home. Really, really importantly, the courses that we deliver are really evidence-based and based on the best kind of evidence for the practice that you'll be undertaking. Lots of hands-on support. And this student had commented on that's more hands-on than the home programme, which helps to increase the marketability of graduates when you go home or enhances the programme reputation. And I think that links to the employability that I'd mentioned earlier on as well. The student had identified that there was a Facebook page that was used and really helps to get to know students beforehand, which I think can help you to make friends before you even arrive in Glasgow. And this last student here had identified how exciting and enlightening being in Glasgow, and they enjoyed the experience of learning here so much. So your journey from applying to studying at GCU, you may well be working with the admissions team just now, and depending on your circumstances, you may be liaising with the visa support team. We can arrange an airport pickup service from Glasgow University, and that can really help with that initial phase of coming to Glasgow and to Scotland. There'll be an international student induction as well as a general student induction and freshers events, which are always very exciting and amazing to see all the students arriving on campus in September. The teaching styles are really, really varied. You may have some sort of classroom, big classroom teaching if you have the whole year group, but most of the teaching's in smaller groups. So usually the most that you would have in a classroom would be about 30 students. And a lot of that would include small group work. It might include some independent learning, some tutorials or seminars. So there really are a varied styles of teaching used within the courses. We have an amazing library and also lots of online resources that you can access from wherever you're staying in your accommodation. But the library has really good opening hours. So if you're a person who likes to study in the morning, then you can come along. Or equally, if you like to study into the evening, then that's also an opportunity to do that as well. And also within the Govan and Becky building, which is where most of the School in Health and Life Sciences programmes are held, where the classes are, then we also have our learning cafe that you can use for study and for small group work as well. So the support that you receive for the academic studies, there's the programme leader, there's a module leader, there may be a class facilitator that you have. So these members of staff will be able to support you with your learning for the individual modules and the programme. There'll be an element of independent learning, as I say, and that could be in terms of the assessments you undertake, but often you'll be given information to read over before the class. So for example, you might be given an article to read in advance of a class that you have, and then when you get there, then there'll be a discussion about what you managed to get from the article and how that impacts on the learning that you have and the course that you're learning at the time. We have a really amazing learning development centre, and they can help you with things like academic study within GCU or referencing. We're aware that there may be a bit of a transition that you have from your own country to come to GCU, and the learning development centre is really fantastic. And when you start with us, I strongly urge that you have a look at their resources and reach out to them. As well as academic studies, we also have personal supports. And one of the academics within your department will be assigned as your personal tutor. Now, this person really isn't there so much for teaching for you, it's really just for support. So if you have something that's going on in your life that you need a bit of guidance about, then they can help to guide you if that's impacting on your studies. And they'll be with you right the way through the programme. We also have class representatives, and when you start, you can apply to be one of the class representatives, and they can help to escalate if you have any questions, and they can help to liaise with the academics if that's what you need. And we also have a really excellent students association who have a whole lot of societies and support and different things that you can get involved in when you're at GCU. We have a vice president for the Students' Association who's based within the School of Health and Life Sciences, and she's very much part of the international team as well, and usually comes along to the induction, so you can meet up with them when we have that session as well. The city, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to have a look at the things that are available in Glasgow, but Glasgow's an amazing place. I actually are from and live in Edinburgh, which is one of the other cities in Scotland, and we have quite a friendly rivalry between the two cities, but I think Glasgow is an amazing place. It really is. There's a kind of phrase in Glasgow that people make Glasgow, and it's absolutely the truth. It's a sort of place that if you stop and ask someone for directions, they'll most likely take you where you're going, even if it's out of their own way. So it's a very, very friendly place. Our location is really in the middle of Glasgow. We're right beside the bus station, and the George Square, which is in the middle of Glasgow, is literally a 5-minute walk from the university. So you're very much in the city centre, and we're all on one campus, so you don't have to move around for your classes. And both within the campus and the wider city of Glasgow, there's lots of greenery, and that's obviously good for having breaks and having walks. So it's absolutely a fantastic place to live and a fantastic place to study. This is just a couple of photographs of the campus. This is on the left is the sort of main entrance into the university. And you see in the background there's a green sort of building, that's the library there, and the image on the right, that's the Gavin and Becky building. That's where most of the School of Health and Life Sciences departments are based. So I'd like to just finish off by showing you a short video which isn't specifically about GCU, but it's about studying in Scotland. And after this, then Sandra will come in and tell you a bit about her experiences as a student in the School of Health and Life Sciences. Thank you.
Study in Scotland now. Now is everything. Now is the moment we turn dreams into reality. Now is blazing new trails. Now is relentlessly curious. Now is new skills, new careers, new industries. Now transforms lives. Now changes worlds. Now is asking the biggest of questions. Now is stopping to listen. Now builds hope and grows reputations. Now is a culture built on knowledge and learning. Now is home, and the warmest of welcomes. Now is the start of the road to success. Choose a world-renowned education. There is no waiting. Scotland is now.
Hi. So thank you for joining the webinar today. I'm not sure if everyone can hear me. If you can't, just let me know. So just a short introduction about myself. My name is Sandra. I'm originally from Singapore and I'm in my third year studying social work. So I'm just going to share a bit about my experience studying at Glasgow Caledonian University and studying in Glasgow in general as well. I think I'll start with more of like classes and lectures. So I think one of the things that I found really helpful studying at GCU is that the lecturers are always very welcoming to questions and always very patient. When I first started university in Glasgow, I think I was very nervous because I was coming from outside of Scotland and I didn't really understand all the systems in Scotland, especially for academics. But I asked my lecturers a lot of questions and they were always very patient in answering and always took their time to email me back whenever I needed to ask something. And that also translates to kind of academic support during assessment period as well. So we always get one lecture solely dedicated to assignment prep, which is always very helpful and always helps to like calm the nerves down a bit about assignments. Yeah, and I think as Gordon mentioned previously, we have an interprofessional learning course every year. So what happens is that we basically work with students from different faculties. And I think I've really enjoyed that because it gives us a lot of skills that we wouldn't have necessarily known unless we have worked with people from different fields, learning about nursing, dietitian, podiatry, and a lot of different fields in School of Health and Life Sciences. And it also gave me the opportunity to kind of broaden my social circle and meet different people and also meet other international students that are in the School of Health and Life Sciences. And yeah, I think that's one of the things that I've really quite enjoyed. Something else that's quite unique from a social work perspective is that we have a simulation room at Glasgow Caledonian University for social work students to kind of do like role play sessions of like visiting a service user's home or Yeah, so that's really interesting for me because I've never experienced something like that before. And it was a very cool thing to do for one of our modules that we had. Yeah, so in terms of like the people, like Gordon said, people make Glasgow, and I think it's really true. I think when you're an international student coming to a different country to study, it can be quite nerve-wracking. I remember when I was coming here, I only moved to Glasgow maybe at the start of last year, and I was so nervous when I was moving because I didn't know how I'll fit in or whether I'll get along with my classmates because there's not a lot of international students in social work. But wow, when I first arrived, I remember the first thing my classmate did was he came into the city center and he brought me out into the city and brought me to all the places that he enjoys going. And I remember that really calmed me down a lot because I was so nervous when I was first moving and I didn't really know anyone in Glasgow. But that changed really fast. I think people are so friendly, especially my classmates. They're always so keen to teach me about Scotland, about Scottish culture, about food, about slang, and even about football culture. So it's always very interesting, and I'm always learning a lot from them. And they're also always very open to learning about my own culture. Yeah. And I think one of the great things is that because the campus is right in city center, so a lot of the student accommodation is also in city center. So Glasgow is just very multicultural, and there's also a lot of international students. So there's always a lot of opportunity to make new friends and meet new people. I know for me, because I live in city center as well, I've gotten a chance to meet a lot of people from all around the world and make friends with so many people that, yeah, I still keep in contact with even after they've left Glasgow. Yeah, and because Glasgow is so multicultural as well, I think like in terms of food, there's always a lot of food options in Glasgow. There's many different things to eat. I know personally for myself, I have like a list of places I want to visit and I haven't even started finishing the list. I'm only at the start of the list. Yeah, and yeah, I think Glasgow is just a really exciting place to live in. I know for me, even though I've only been here for like 1.5 years, it really feels like home away from home. There's always so much to do. There's always festivals and concerts happening, especially during summer. And yeah, you just never really get bored in Glasgow. And I think one of the cool things about Glasgow, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Glasgow is the only city in Scotland that has a subway system, which is really cool. It's like, it's really convenient to, for example, if you want to go and visit just the outskirts of the city centre, like towards West End, where University of Glasgow is. And yeah, it's just a very nice city, and the people have been really friendly, and I've made a lot of friends here that I will always keep in touch with until and even when I leave Glasgow. So yeah, I think I will stop rambling and I'll give more chance for anyone to ask any questions. And Gordon and Hannah are also here to help answer any questions you may have. Yeah. Yes.
Sandra, can I just while we're waiting for other questions, I've got two questions for you, if that's okay.
Okay. Yes.
What are your plans when you finish the program? And with bearing in mind the time of the day, what's your favourite Scottish slang word?
So I think after I study, I'm still thinking about it, but honestly, I think especially in School of Health and Life Sciences, I think the fields that we study are very important. So there's always a lot, like even for social work, there's always a lot of job opportunities. So for me, for example, I actually just finished my placement and my university placement, and then my colleagues were telling me that if I want to stay here, there will always be jobs available for social work. And
Absolutely.
I think that is something that I thought about, because I really, really love Glasgow. And I really hope that one of my dreams is to actually live in Scotland and work in Glasgow. So hopefully when I graduate next year, maybe I'll stick around and I
Absolutely.
won't leave. My favorite slang, it is the morning, but the first one that came to mind was swali, which basically, like, going out for a swali means like going out for a drink. That's one of my favorites.
That's a great one. That's a great one. Yeah, I was telling Sandra that I used to teach in Singapore, and I used to have a Scottish word of the day that I would teach everyone. So it was that was good fun trying to, because a lot of Scottish words, they kind of, Scottish people roll their R's. So there's lots of words that are quite difficult to pronounce. So it's but that's what's going out for a swally. Marvelous. Does anyone have any questions? So I mean, and what Sandra was saying, that there's the post-study work visa. So if you are coming here on a student visa, then you're able to work in the UK once you finish your programs. So there's a question there about eligibility to apply for a scholarship or student funding packages. So there's a specific page on the GCU website related to scholarships. Depending on your funding, then if you're self-funding, you'll be maybe eligible for a discount when you start at GCU. But there is information, most up-to-date information about scholarships on the website. So that's probably the best place to look. There certainly are scholarships available. So if you check out, what I can maybe do is find the website, and I can put that in the chat here. Oh, there's Hannah. Hannah's beating me to it. Also, so you're looking at adult nursing. Well, that's my background. So it's a fantastic course and a fantastic program to do as well. And you get lots of clinical experience around Glasgow as well in the hospitals. So some of that's in hospitals, some of that's in a community setting, and time in the simulation area as well that I'd mentioned earlier. But it's a good choice of program. Have you managed to travel around Scotland at all, Sandra, and see different places?
Oh, yes. So actually, when I decided to stay during summer break last year, so I traveled around the West Coast, and then I did the North Coast 500 as well.
Oh, really? Gosh, okay. So you tell people what that is? What's the fight?
Okay. So basically, there's some driving routes in Scotland for, like, if you want to take road trips. So the North Coast 500 basically goes up through, I think goes past Inverness, which is on the east side of Scotland, and then it starts on, like, it goes around the top of Scotland. And so there's a lot of I think what's really pretty about the North Coast is there's a lot of rock formations and oceans, which I really love. And I also got the chance to go up to Orkney, which you have to take a ferry to. So you take a ferry over to Orkney, and then Orkney itself is just like it's quite small, but there's a lot of really interesting landforms there as well. Yeah, and I think my favorite place in Scotland is Isle of Skye. Really magical place. You didn't know Scotland's national animal is the unicorn, and how magical is that? Nowhere else has it. That's one of the most exciting things when I came to Scotland and I learned. Yeah, so Isle of Skye. I really love Isle of Skye.
That's amazing.
One of my favorite places in Isle of Skye is the fairy pools.
Oh yeah.
So pretty. Yeah. an old man of Storr, which is like
Amazing.
rocks, rock
Mhm.
formation.
Yeah, and it's you can from Glasgow, then you can be out into the countryside easily by bus or by train
Yeah.
in an hour. It's very, very close.
Very convenient, yeah.
So I see that there was a question there about visa team. So yeah, so it's you'll get lots of information, as Hannah said, about the visa and timescales for visa processes to make sure that you're able to start the program on time.
Are there any other questions from anyone? If we don't have any further questions, I think we're fine to just wrap everything up. But obviously, if there are any further questions at all from any of the guests in the webinar today, I'll pop a link in the chat where you can get in touch with inquiries@gcu.ac.uk. And we'll be able to direct any of the questions that you have, whether they're program specific or whether they're more generic GCU questions. We can hopefully answer them there and then. But apart from that, Gordon, Sandra, have you got anything else that you want to impart before we head off? I think things have come to a bit of a natural end.
Yeah. Just to reiterate, GCU is a fantastic place to study. So we'd be really pleased to meet you when you start, and hopefully see you in Glasgow.
Yes, come to GCU.
Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you in September. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar, and thank you very much to Gordon and Sandra for a really useful session. I thought that was really informative. So yes, thanks very much. Everyone enjoy your days, and we'll hopefully see you on campus in September. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.